hate this shirt that I'm wearing. Just to give context right now, it's about, I don't know, like 80 degrees, so it's hot. I honestly, half of me doesn't want to make this video at all, and the other half feels compelled to, so, see, I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. Maybe that's better? Maybe I'll just step back a little bit. So yeah, to give you like a context right now, I'm a little out of sorts. It has to do with, so yesterday, see, it's hard because I really have a hard time talking about situations where I don't feel 100% in the right. I think I've discussed this in other videos before, so just to give a quick disclaimer, if you haven't already kind of inferred this, I always get so self-conscious even saying stuff like this. I consider myself very naive, for one, so if I ever say something that strikes you as maybe insensitive, or maybe it offends you on the basis of stupid information, I really apologize, because I sometimes am not aware of my own lack of experience, education, maturity. The list could go on from there. So if ever I say something that just sounds downright stupid or naive, that's not me being mean, facetious, or smart. That's just presuming that I'm being open-minded or being accepting. So I first wanted to get that out there because I think in my last video I was very candid. I was very like more open than I've been in any prior videos, and even in real life I'm usually not that open. So I think maybe I went a little overboard in just like expressing random thoughts that I haven't even things about things that I haven't even researched. So I wanted to start the video off with that, but yeah. So I think in terms of today, I'm feeling shy, I'm feeling self-conscious, which is normal for me, but even more so because there are a couple things I really want to talk about, but that I'm afraid to talk about, mostly because I don't know myself exactly how I feel about these things. So it definitely makes me uncomfortable, more because the way my mind works is I'm realizing this, like, even today, more so than in the past ever before, I've realized how rigid my mindset is, how much my rigidity affects my decisions. So I'm afraid to describe an event. For example, if I feel like I was partly in the wrong. I think that's also a trait that correlates with agreeableness, which I realized I'm high in. And it's not a great thing. Like, the word agreeable, I realized, can be taken different ways in a different context. So, like in a psychological sense, remember, I'm not an expert. I'm not pretending to be an expert in any way, shape, or form. This is stuff like I'm delving into for the first time, really, ever. Even college, I didn't really study deeply psychology. I just studied for the test, and the test is more surface level and memorization. So for like the first time, honestly, in my life, I've really been interested in these traits that traits we all have, but that I really resonate with, and especially these, I would say, more negative traits that could be taken to a negative extreme, I'm becoming aware of. And I think it's in a way that's, for me, it's a fresh perspective, because in the past, if I became aware of my negative traits, it was usually through someone telling me, just really just, I would say criticizing in a non-constructive manner. Like, for instance, if I talked about my OCD, or perhaps overthinking, perhaps overthinking a situation, usually the comment, or the response I would get from the person who I shared the story with would be something like, you should seek help. And I know that can be taken in a positive way, but oftentimes it was said in a way like, you're just crazy and you better see a therapist. I don't blame anyone in particular for the way I subjectively take their advice, so I understand I could just be taking it in a negative way. That's 100% possible. But I think also, like, you have to also be careful of whose advice you seek. So oftentimes I would kind of explain my situation or describe my thoughts to someone who was not the best person to talk to, period. So there's a level of cautiousness I think you should practice in terms of seeking advice, seeking help. So in that way, it might be good to see a therapist, or to confide in a counselor or someone you really trust. So there is sort of the trust factor involved. So yeah, I would say it's a positive thing in a lot of ways to see someone, but just be careful, I think, if you're giving someone advice and you're maybe, if it can come across the wrong way. Now again, I'm a sensitive person. I'm a hypersensitive person. So it also is worth noting that I can be offended. I'm offended much more easily. So I think I want to drop the subject on that one for now, because I don't have much more to say. Yeah, so about the story, if I ever get to the story. So it has to do with yesterday, it has to do with work, and it has to do with my job and an aspect of the job that I particularly dislike. It's still, like, honestly really hard for me to say this out loud, because even though nothing terrible happened, it was kind of a terrible experience, and it was also a very enlightening experience at the same time. Basically, a certain situation triggered a certain feeling in me that I knew had been bottled up for a long time, and it resulted in a type of panic attack in front of a lot of people. And this is not the first time I have expressed a lot of emotion in front of a lot of people. So that's nothing new, and I'm not going to pretend that it was really that traumatic. It really wasn't, because I'm actually, in a strange way, I'm very comfortable expressing my emotions in front of people. And that's nothing to be proud of either, because that can result in making other people uncomfortable, which I've also come to realize. So I'm really just venting a lot about my character traits. I don't even know if this can be taken in a helpful way unless you really, really relate to these things, and maybe you're just also realizing that you have these traits, and then you're also realizing that you should either start to research ways of alleviating it, or find a source of advice, source of counseling you can trust. In that way, this could be helpful. In other ways, it could be triggering. So if anything I say is triggering, please stop the video until if you feel ready. But in terms of emotion, I think it's not always healthy to express your emotion at a certain time for other people's sake. And that's something I've come to realize. in the past several years that I may be comfortable expressing my worst emotions in front of other people, and I may not feel shame in doing so, but it's also not fair to other people because it can be triggering to them. Maybe this is a form of apology that I'm doing right now, or it's just a way of kind of redeeming myself. I don't know. But in terms of yesterday, that was more so painful for me emotionally in this way, because it made me realize that if something is so unpleasant that I have no control over my emotions, maybe it's a reason for leaving. And of course, there's the counter argument that you should be able to manage your emotions. You should be able to function in any situation regardless of how you feel. And I do agree to an extent. Like, the past year, honestly, has been a challenge in different ways because I do find my job really stressful, but in other ways not so. Like, if you saw me, if you had a way of like watching me at work and just seeing what I do, I don't think it would strike you that I am stressed at my job. I don't think I show it. Like, I take most things in a positive way. I think I can handle a lot of input at once. It's only in certain situations when I lose concentration, I think. And that's kind of what yesterday had to do with. It was more so that there's this reoccurring kind of situation where when I am forced, I would say, like forced to multitask, in a way I think is not necessary. Like, of course, I am subjective here. I'm not right. I'm not even professing to be in the right in any sort of way, except in what I experience. And what I experience is overwhelm in a way that's not necessary, because I know that other people in my position aren't forced to do this. It's only because I know how to do another position that I am kind of, like, against my own will, forced to multitask. Of course, there's like more to it. There's also the fact that I think the fact that not that this should be taken just in the financial sense, but I do feel that there is a form of exploitation at this company, not just against myself, and it's not a bad company. It's a good company in a lot of ways. But I just feel like this was the breaking point for me. Like, I guess when you feel like what you do, like when you feel like your performance should be valued in some type of way, whether it be just working fast. Like, I did pride myself on working as fast as I was able to in the position I was in for my experience, even my physical size. Like, I know that's a controversial thing, but like, I do consider it kind of hardworking. If you're smaller, like if you're a petite person and you are doing more physical things like lifting and whatever, and you are pushing yourself, I feel like that is something that should be valued. I understand managers are under a shitload of stress right now, especially right now, and I understand that they have 1,001 other things to focus on besides you, and they're not just watching you, and they're not just paying attention to the fact that you have never taken a break in basically all of the time you worked at the store and blah blah blah, and you will push yourself for other things. I understand they have to pay attention to other people, other problems that are far more important. So I think, like, that's why I'm saying I was not 100% in the right, except that what I experience is right now, I think, too stressful for me because I'm at a transition point. And I think once you realize, like, once you open your eyes to the fact that there is something else you can do that's better for you, I think that's when you have to let go of those obligations. Like, for me, for the longest time, I just felt so attached to, like, so loyal to this company, to this job, and even to the people. It's like, it's like this one person said, this video I was watching, they were talking about their experiences in kind of like this sort of retail position. Like, they were talking about their time at a job that's similar to mine, and they expressed it much more articulately, but it was like basically a second family. Like, once you feel like you have a second family, almost doesn't matter how you feel about them, it's like you are kind of loyal to that group, and that's how I've been for the longest time. And there are many good aspects to it. I consider many people there like second family, but I also realize how some of that's just my perception. Like, at the end of the day, if you are breaking down and most people turn a blind eye to you, of course they have their own stuff going on, right? Like, I do understand that. I don't expect for people to hone in on just you. But it does kind of wake you up to the fact that at the end of the day you are alone, or at least you are on your own in terms of your life and what you do with your life, right? So in that way, I think it was kind of like yesterday was a wake-up call to, do I really want to be here when it's a struggle for me at this time? Like, if I'm at a point where I need to focus maybe more so on my goals, what I value, it's a time in your life when maybe you realize that certain decisions are certain opportunities are available to you. Like, I'll be honest, I have other opportunities, and maybe it seems like I'm not in a state to take advantage of them, but I do think they are challenges that I've been waiting for, and I feel like this job is stagnant. Like, I'm not gonna say it's a crappy job. Like, some people will just say, that's the only reason you shouldn't work there, because they don't pay you enough. I don't only value the money, I really don't, but I do value my time, my energy, and when you are kind of draining yourself for something that doesn't give back to you, if you don't see the products of your labor, I think over time it just eats you up. Like, of course, some people don't have a choice. I know people in my company who don't have the choices I have. Like, they can't just give up. They can't just leave their job. And I understand, like, they might hear this story, if they watch this video, and just think, what a complainer she is. She doesn't even work full time. Yeah, I would not disagree with them. I really wouldn't. It's a predicament because, like, when you're looking for some type of support, or like at least some type of something to look up to, like who to look up to, who do you want to be like, and you don't see anyone there you could emulate. Like, I think that's sort of the issue right now also, is like, if I go in for another month, the thing is, like, especially with my rigidity, it's like, if I think I'm going back there tomorrow, it's gonna be tomorrow, it's gonna be the next week, and the next week becomes the next month, and I think I'm only saying it this way because I have a hard time giving anything up and detaching from anything. So I really see it as like kind of like like, how should I put this? Sort of significant. Like, I shouldn't, like, the way I see it is like, I kind of have an opportunity tomorrow to quit, and I know that sounds so defeatist. At least to me, it still feels like that's the last thing I want to do. I want to be honorable. I want to put my 2 weeks in, like, the piece of paper that says thank you for all of the opportunities, and I shall work here for another 2 weeks and all of that. The other side of me, I don't know if it's the dishonorable side of me or if it's just the braver side of me, just says you really should just let go. Like, they will survive without you. And that's the other thing I kind of didn't want to believe. Like, I thought, really, if I quit, they won't have someone who can whatever I do. Like, honestly, I just see myself as so disposable at this point. like, I'm not saying nobody likes me, but does it really matter? Like I said, at the end of the day, I don't know if this is nihilistic, but does it really matter? Like, if you are alone at the end of the day in your life, I think they'd survive. I most certainly think they'll survive without me if I don't come in tomorrow. I don't like the statement that makes, like, I just want to leave on a clean note. But the thing is, there is no clean note with that company. Like, people come and go. There have been days, I'm going to be honest, like, there have been days when I saw 3 people walk out in succession, and I stayed along with the other people who stayed, and we basically took care of everything that was going on, all of the crazy and all of the mess, and, like, retail is messy to begin with, but it was a messy, I think it was a Saturday, it was just a messy day, and those are the moments I remember, like, thinking, I guess, like, do I get a gold star for this day? All of the times I'm told, you're too difficult, you don't want to do what we want you to do in the moment, you're not a team player. And then I think of, like, how many times did I stay? Did I pull double shifts? Did I stay for, like, the cause? And I did, and I enjoyed it at the time, but it's kind of like every day is a new clean blank slate, right? So one day you're the hero and you give up your whole Saturday night because you do a double shift and you push yourself, and the next day you're just a nobody again. I feel like I'm kind of, kind of straying into some more emotion, and I'm trying to avoid that. Like, I'm trying to think more clearly, trying to become a better planner, trying to just become more like, not positive. I mean, I'm a pretty positive person, I think, but, like, I'm trying to think less emotionally, but sometimes you just have to. Like, sometimes if you got yourself into a situation because of emotion, if I attach myself to this place so much because of emotion, I'm gonna leave with emotion. I think it just works like that. So, I honestly had so many different ideas for this episode. They all kind of got jumbled together, and in a way they didn't get expressed at all. Like, I really just wanted to share this thought, and it's honestly such a, like, hot, messy thought in my mind even now. Like, I don't know if it's the weather, I just feel, like, anxious, but, like, in a way where I want it to kind of just bubble up and dissolve. Like, I'm thinking like tomorrow will be the end. That sounds bad. I don't mean it like that. I just mean, like, it's the end of that chapter. Like, I think I really am done. Of course, like, there's a chance, there's a really, like, pathetic chance that you'll see the next video and I'll be talking about my day at work, and I really, like, I can picture that too, and that's the strange thing. Like, I think not all of us, I should just speak for myself, I have a tendency to hone in on a feeling and feel so passionate about it, and then, like, it kind of subsides and I go back to the same kind of static feeling. Like, I'll go back to this job and I'll go back to the sort of the same predicament, which is why I think it is so important that I just leave. As you can see, my decision-making skills are not the best. It's gonna take time. Like, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Either I'll be on the other side of town, figuring out what the hell to do, or I'll be back at that job figuring out what the hell to do. So either way, I'm kind of in a sticky situation, but no, I'll figure it out. So to recap, I just want to say thank you again for everyone who watches this video, and especially anyone who comments. I do appreciate the comments. I feel like there's so much enlightenment, forgive the cliche, but there's so much enlightenment in just other people's honesty and their perceptions, and I think it really breaks the subjectivity of my own subjectiveness, right? I'm really sounding kind of, like, over esoteric, sorry. But yeah, like, if you've kind of gained anything from just hearing, maybe just hearing how, like how someone like me overthinks, maybe it'll make you realize that you have overthinking tendencies or you don't, and either way you can kind of improve yourself, right? So yeah, I want to apologize one more time for anything I've said that sounded kind of stupid, naive. I realize I'm naive. I don't always acknowledge it. But I think I'm going to switch the idea of this channel as advice and more as just a kind of community for sharing ideas, because until I figure myself out, I don't think advice is the best way to describe what I say. So yeah, I was gonna say thank you, but also just positive energy to everyone watching this video. Whatever you're going through right now, I just hope you resolve it in your own way, and it's gonna get better. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great one.